Hey everyone, Duelist here back with another Yu-Gi-Oh video, and today we're taking a look at the latest Asian English tier list, Post-Dueling Nexus. So at our first tier list, we looked at the decks that are available at the creation pack and identified Runic and Dinos as the best decks of that format because of how shallow the card pool was during that time. And with Duelist Nexus, a lot of the decks that were incomplete in the creation pack were now a bit more complete, and they're really spicy, and now we have really solid near full power decks available. All that's missing are generic extra deck staples and other hand traps and board breakers that you'd have in TCG and OCG. But right now, Asian English is a way more playable format and way more exciting right now because you have a lot of really solid strategies to play with, and we're gonna tier them up and see which ones are the best. So let's get started. So for um for first deck, we have Altergeist, and Altergeist right now I think is tier 2. You can play the slow grindy control build or the slow grindy control setup, or you can go with the 2 card combo, which allows you to get into their new Link 4, which still offers solid disruption while allowing you to revert to a control game after. So right now, Altergeist is really good because has all the cards it needs, and it also has access to Secret Village of the Spellcasters, and a lot of the decks right now rely on really powerful spells, so that's really annoying. So I think Altergeist is a good tier 2 strategy and really affordable compared to the other decks here. Next we have Runic. Runic was tier 1 in the creation pack tier list, and I think it's still tier 1. It could use stuff like it could use the floodgates, it could use the stun cards, but I think Runic right now can still do its banish antics easily in Asian English format. So yeah, I think Runic will still be really good right now, especially that you have the complete fusion package. You have all the Runic cards at 3. You have Terraforming, I think, at 3 right now because they haven't adjusted the ban list yet. I think they'll be adjusting that really soon, maybe after the Rarity Collection release. But once that happens, until that happens, Runic will be still really good because it's really, really, really full power. Let's go. Next is Dark Magician. You would say Dark Magician is casual deck, but I dare to say that Dark Magician is decently rogue. If you play Dark Magician as a slow, grindy control deck with floodgates, or you can put Secret Village, it's really annoying. It's so hard to deal with. You need to really focus on breaking their back row to win the game. And if you can't do that, you're gonna be in a lot of trouble because they're just gonna outgrind and they're gonna really slow the pace of the game down. So you really need a faster, more consistent strategy against this. However, if you're not doing that, well, Dark Magician isn't as consistent or isn't as powerful as the other decks. So this still loses to a lot of board breakers. So you're gonna struggle a bit when you're using this, but it's a pretty decent among the structure decks. It's actually decent because you can really play that control strategy, um, which is a bit more consistent than the other structure deck in Asian English. So yeah, Dark Magician is, if you're choosing between the Dark Magician and Blue Eyes structure decks, which I'll be discussing after this. Yeah, I think Dark Magician is way better. For Blue Eyes, speaking of that deck, we're gonna play in casual. Blue Eyes is simply a strategy that works when you're gonna OTK. It's fun when it comes up, but it's not a viable strategy for competitive right now. It's really bricky. It's not as strong. Yeah. Even though it has access to stuff like Jet Dragon and Spirit Dragon, they're just a bit too expensive right now because they're secret rares that you have to open. So yeah, you're investing a lot for a deck that doesn't do as much as the other strategies here in the tier list. So yeah, Blue Eyes for now is a really solid casual deck if you're a bit nostalgic for older Yu-Gi-Oh, or you just wanna go Unga Bunga OTK against your opponent. Next we have Infern Noble. I would say it's tier 2. Infern Noble has the full archetype right now. You have Charlemagne, I think you have Emperor Charles, you have Renaud, you have the new well, not really new. You have the Duelist Nexus cards for Infern Noble, so I think this can really do a lot of damage. The only thing that this is missing are extra deck staples, which a lot of the decks in Asian English are missing. But I think as a pure archetype, yeah, Infern Noble has really solid disruption. It has a long combo line. You don't have Maxine Asian English just yet, so you can just combo away to your heart's content. We don't even have Ashen Asian English yet too, so that's really interesting. Next we have Chimera. Chimera is the newest archetype here, and I think it's tier 2 because Chimera has Guardian Chimera access, and it can make Guardian Chimera really consistent in a consistent basis, and especially during your opponent's turn. So really good. That's really good form disruptions, and Chimera also has access to pretty nice monster negate that you can easily set up, and a targeting negate, which is also very easy to set up. You can set those two negates up alongside each other in the combo line. So, and one thing about Chimera, it can use generic fusion support, can use some fusion support that's available in the Asian English card pool, and has a lot of space for non-engine, so you can put a lot of staples and a lot of hand traps, and you're pretty much good to go. So yeah, really good. I would say Chimera is a nice deck for new players as well, because the deck has simple, straightforward mechanics, but those straightforward mechanics offer you solid disruption that can allow you to hang on to the competitive metagame of Asian English. Next, we have Vanadium. So I would say Vanadium, Vanadium, Tomato, Tomato. So yeah, I would say Vanadium and Scarecrow should be in the same tier list, the same rank tier list, because both of these decks offer solid. Together they're really good. So if you're gonna put them together, they're high up in tier 2. Especially with Scarecrow Tryhard. You can play Tryhard Control right now, and it's pretty annoying, hard to deal with. And Vanadium has just a lot of access to their synchros and really allows you to just um pop off your combos and get a lot of bodies and generic synchros on the board. Whichever synchros are available in the game. So yeah, um, I'd recommend this. Really good. Long term, this is a really good strategy because the extra deck card pool will just get wider and wider as the format evolves. Next, we have Vagans. Vagans is also a victim of that. It needs a lot of the extra generic support, especially the pendulum support. But I think when Vagans gets those, it will be a deck that can pop off and for now be the best pendulum deck, because right now it's the only pure pendulum deck in this format. So that's interesting. So I think Vagans has time to shine if we have all of that. Next we have Synchrons. So Synchrons is a consistent combo deck. I think it has way more synchro access now. It has the Quasar Dragon. It has the new Synchron Dragon, so that's really cool. You can set up a lot of negates. So I think Synchron is a really good tier 3 strategy. Uh I think the other decks on top are a bit better, a bit more consistent at setting up their board. You need a hand that's full of extenders to get into this, but hey, Synchrons offer a lot of combo access, so it's pretty good. Once the card pool widens up, I think this can go up, especially if Maxi does not arrive in Asian English. So yeah, this will be really good soon. Next is Dinos. Dinos, I'd say, are on top of tier 2, maybe. One of the best decks in tier 2. Because Dinos have access to Ultimate Conductor Tyranno. They have extra deck support in Lagia and Dolka, which offer like 3 disruptions there alongside Ultimate Conductor Tyranno. That's like 4. and that's probably one of the best boards right now. One of the more solid base. It's a basic board if you're talking about TCG, OCG, and even Master Duel. But in Asian English, where the card pool is a bit shallow, yeah, that's really good. So Dinos are really good strategy. This was once tier one, but I'll put it on top of tier two because I think the other upcoming strategies will be a bit better. But if you're looking for a deck that's affordable and really viable in the competitive Asian English metagame for a long period of time, I think Dinos is a really good investment because um it will get a lot of the generic Dino support soon, and it's a really good combo deck that really pops off and has solid boards that will just annihilate opponents. So really good. Solid going first. Going second, it can play through a lot of disruption and set up an OTK line, or at least break your board to dust. So really good. Dinos. I vouch for this. I think it's the most well-rounded deck in Asian English just because of the amount of support that it has and it can access and the board that it can make. It's really simple to do and it's really nice. Your Sartic, I think I'm gonna put this in casual for now because I think your Sartic needs a lot of generic staples and extenders to really pop off, but when it does, and you're facing off against your Sartic, someone who likes your Sartic, you're gonna have a bad time. But for now, I think it's a casual deck. It's not as powerful just yet because of the shallow card pool. But I think when people get to cook more with more cards, I think your Sartic can be at least a rogue contender because in my opinion it's quite a fun deck with really powerful disruptions, but you really need to cook up a really spicy list to make it work. Next we have RescueAce, and RescueAce I think right now is in tier one because it has emergency and preventer now, so this means you can set up turbulence faster and more often. You can use turbulence to just set four and set up multiple disruptions against your opponent. The only issue here is that the link monster pool is shallow, so you really need the code talker from the speed duel starter deck to get to link off and give you turbulence materials. But uh nevertheless, Rescue Ace is more consistent now. It has access to three airlifter, three emergency, unlike an OCG and TCG. So you're gonna have a way better time in Asian English with Rescue Ace. And with Age of Overlord arriving, Diable Star will be there, and that will just improve the pace of the deck even more. And you also have SP, which help make Rescue Ace one of the best decks in TCG and OCG. So that's really good. Next is Nemrelia. Nemrelia, I think, is a rogue deck. It just needs the banish floodgates. It just needs some stuff like Dimensional Fissure, Dimension Shifter, and I think Nemrelia can be a fun rogue deck that can OTK and beat you down to death. So I would love to see that because the rogue pool is really not as deep because a lot of the strategies here are pretty good. Especially the tier two ones, they're pretty good. I would say they're too strong to be rogue, so the meta is diverse enough that you'll have a lot of fun with these decks from tier two to rogue. Next we have Purrely, and I think Purrely, hmm, I would say Purrely is the best deck in the format. Rescue Ace is second. I would say Runic, since it doesn't have the floodgates, I would say third right now for the current list we're having. But Purely is full power. It has three delicious, three sleepy. What more could you ask for? You have the full draw power. You have Purely finally. You have E Purely Noir for another disruption. And I think this is the most complete deck in general, which offers you you have all the Purely XCs. You can just max them out since the generic extra deck monsters aren't there yet, and you'll have a really great time. I think this is the most resilient Asian English deck right now because you can just max out your purely extra deck, as I said, and you're gonna have a really good time. And yeah, it's just really difficult to match up to purely right now because it's full power. It will just really be hard to remove that X purely noir, especially when we don't have stuff like kaijus and other board breakers to deal with or play with. Next is Unchained. Unchained is complete, and I would say okay. I said RescueAce is second. I think Unchained is gonna be second now. So Purely, Unchained, RescueAce, and Runic. Those are my top four. In top five, fifth is Dinos. Those are really good selections. Unchained now is full power, even though you don't have the DDD cards. Um, Unchained can just board break you to death. They don't need much of the non-engine and staples. They're full power. They can just pop cards at will. You can just combo off, and I would say this can play to a good amount of disruption, and I think Unchained long term will be really good. And yeah, I would say yeah, this is a really good tier list, and I'd say Unchained with full power with all the support will be one of the best decks and a really solid investment. It's not as expensive as it is right now. So I think this is also a good way to get into Asian English alongside stuff like Dinos. So yeah, that's it for the tier list. And for a recap, we have Purely, Unchained, RescueAce, and Runic at tier 1. I would say they're the four best decks of the format. Tier 2, Dinos, Manadium, and Scareclaw. Altergeist, Infern Noble, Chimera. These are really solid strategies that if you build them right, they're gonna be really, really good. They can even contend against those tier 1 decks. Tier 3, Synchrons and Vegans. They need extra support, extra generic extra deck support, and they'll be really good. Rogue, we have Nellia and Dark Magician. Right now, they also need help. And casual, your Sartic and Blue Eyes. So yeah, these decks aren't recommended for the competitive metagame, but if you just want to have a bit more fun, you can play these decks. But for now, that's it for the Asian English tier list. If I missed any of the decks in that are available in Asian English, let me know in the comment sections. Uh, if you have other questions about the Asian English metagame or how to get Asian English cards or um, combo lines or plays, you can leave it in the comment section. You can ask away, and I'll answer to the best of my ability. You can also like this video and share this video. It would be awesome. You can also help the channel grow by subscribing to the channel. You can check out my Master Duel and OCG content as well, alongside Asian English. Check out my previous tier list and see what are the decks that were in that list and how the tier list has changed now. But for now, I'll see you in the next video. And once again, thank you for watching, guys. And see you again soon. So bye, guys.